I'm going to transform this entire porch, and I'm hoping that when I'm finished, you will not recognize it. We've got the first coat of primer down, and I'm ready to get in between these cracks with the black paint. And we looked to good old YouTube to see if there was some kind of a hack for how to get down in there without using a paintbrush and kind of just shoving it in there. What I did was I took 2 of these and I cut the little ridges off, placed them back to back, and used some electrical tape to kind of give myself a little bit of a handle. And here's how you do it. You just kind of dip this in the paint, and then it just fits perfectly here. Something super exciting is happening right now. I just got up in my attic, and apparently I am a lighting hoarder. Like, this is problems, you guys. Look at this. What is going on? These are all finds from Habitat for Humanity. Ooh, look at that pretty little one right there. I love that guy. Whew, it's hot up here. I've picked up most of these lights for only a couple dollars a piece over the years at Habitat for Humanity. And when I had a vintage shop, my husband and I would rewire 1, 2, or 3 of these different vintage lights each month to sell in our space. Since I started doing YouTube, I have not had my vintage mall space, so I haven't had time to get to these, but I've got some pretty cool pieces up here. I came up here to look at these 2 shades to see if those would be a good option for the front porch, and then I spotted this guy, and I don't know if this would work. These actually tilt like spotlights. They came from a mid-century church, and I think that they had these kind of like highlighting artwork on the walls, but I kind of wonder if that might work. I might take it down and see. Oh my gosh, that might look really cool. Yep, that's the winner. It looks like more craftsman style. This was a light that I found at Habitat for Humanity for $4 about 2 years ago. And we're gonna see if we can cut this pole section here and chop it down so it only has about maybe a 6-inch drop. And then I have a different schoolhouse shade that I'm gonna put on here that's just plain white without the design. And we're gonna see if we can turn that into our outdoor front porch lighting. A big part of me loves this kind of shabby look because it looks a little bit more rustic and Italian. It's got those kind of, you know, old world vibes. But I've accepted that it needs a fresh coat of paint so that it looks good with the rest of the house. Hi, are you hungry? Do you need some snacks, Alvin? Do you need snacks? This is my little pet squirrel. Her name's Alvin. She's so cute. Picked up this little side table at a garage sale for 50 cents. And I think they were surprised I was even willing to offer them 50 cents for it because it's in such rough shape. But I'm going to try my best to restore this as good as possible. This is some paint stripper that I already had on hand, left over from a project last year. So I've got quite a bit left, so I'm gonna try that out on here. And what you do is you apply it and let it sit for about 30 minutes, and then you scrape a little test to see if it's ready to come up. If not, you can leave it on for longer. It says on the back you can leave it for up to 24 hours. I'm gonna use a paintbrush and pour this on. We're gonna see what happens. It is getting nice and bubbled up. You can see that it's already starting to come off without even scraping. So I'm gonna give this about another 20 minutes to go before I scrape it. It's been 25 minutes so far. And I think I'm gonna go find some pots that need a little bit of work while I wait on this. This is always the most satisfying part, when you just go. Look at that. Ew, all that gunk. Ugh, it's disgusting, but so awesome at the same time. I've got this sanded down to the raw wood, and I've got this entire section here, this circle and this circle, that were really raised up all the way smooth down. I scraped off part of it, and then I use a sander to get the rest. And I think that I'm actually going to paint this baby up to give it an accent color and make it into a little bit of a fun side table. I thought I would try a fun color, so I tested out this mint, which is a color I just happen to have on hand, and I was not digging it, so I decided that I'm going to go ahead and do it black with a white base, and I'm going to use this wood fill to fill in all of these gaps so that it has a nice smooth surface. I have been going back and forth for the last 2 days on what color I wanted to paint the plant stand, and I have decided I am going to do it black, the exact same black as the porch, because I feel like there's just a lot going on here and it's looking busy, but I really want to use the plant stand, and if I paint it black, it will kind of match the deck and disappear, and then the plants can be the focal point, which is what I really wanted. I'm so happy with how this one turned out. You know, originally I was going to do a color on this, and I think doing the black also did the exact same thing, where it kind of just blended it and it lets the terracotta pop, and really honestly the plants are what I want to be the main focal point. And the egg chair, of course. I picked the right day to be doing a DIY in my garage. It's pouring, it's June and it's pouring outside. Okay, I'm really glad that I'm doing a DIY in my shop today and that I wasn't going to be doing any more outside painting on my front porch. So here's what I'm going to be doing today. This is the wooden plant stand that I got at Goodwill for $6.99, and it needs a makeover, so it's going to be painted black, the same color as my porch. Now, when you buy a furniture piece that has a finish on it already, it's really important before you paint, whether you're using a latex paint, an outdoor paint, or a spray paint, you need to remove some of the finish that's on there. Otherwise, your paint is not going to stick properly to it. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is hitting it with the orbital sander, and then I'm going to go in on these areas with a sanding block and kind of just hit it a little bit just to rough it up enough that the paint's going to stick to it good. Don't forget to use a dust mask. It's very important that you are not breathing in any of these chemicals. Here's what the sanded surface looks like. Now, I'm not refinishing this, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to come in with my little sanding block and kind of hit these little areas that I missed, just to give them a little bit of removal and a little bit more texture so that the paint will stick to it. But it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to be painting over, but this gives you that nice smooth finish, and the paint's just going to last longer. Another thing that's really important is when you get your sanding block, make sure you get one that has a point on it, because that really helps you get into these little crevices. and it really does a good job. Here's a close-up of what I was just talking about. A lot of these come with this angle in it, and you can see that when you're getting into those little crevices, it makes all the difference because it can get all those different angles and in those tight little nooks and crannies. And that's really important because you don't want paint just disappearing out of those chunks and staying everywhere else. It's completely sanded, and I'm going to get this cleaned down really well because now you don't want the dust particles to get in the way of the paint. This is the paint that I used on my front porch, and the good thing about this is it's made for being outdoors and specifically on high traffic areas, and it has a low luster enamel finish. I think this is going to work really well on this for a plant stand because we get a lot of sideways rain here in Portland, Oregon, and I think it's going to need that extra protection. The first coat is on, and I think this is going to need 3 coats because as I sanded off that protectant, it makes the wood really porous, which is what you want because you want it to absorb the paint, not just sit on the surface, but it also means that it might take a 3rd coat. I'm going to take a break, wash my brush, and I'll be back here in a few minutes. Front porch is finished, and I could not be more happy with how it turned out. My main inspiration in redoing the front of our house was Italy. Every time I've been to Italy, I have fallen madly in love with the geraniums overflowing out of the terracotta pots, the olive trees, and the sweet smell of jasmine everywhere you walk. And I knew I wanted to incorporate that into my front porch area. We live in a 1911 bungalow, and the character just felt like it was lost in the colors that the house was painted before. It was painted this butter yellow with forest green trim that had this rustic finish on it, and mint green underneath the eaves and on the shops. It had to go. Honestly, I knew it was going to be a huge transformation, and I knew it was going to look so much better, but it even turned out better than I had hoped. My husband is amazing at retrimming out windows, and we decided to go for a much more craftsman style and give it a bulkier look, and it's unbelievable the difference that it made with the front door. It really pops now with the white trim around there. Our front door is an original piece on this home, and it was really cool to be able to finally accent that so you noticed the door when you walked up. Trimming out the windows made such a difference. It really makes the windows look a lot larger. Every single one of my pots has been thrifted. They're all secondhand. Most of them have come from either estate sales, garage sales, or the Goodwill outlet, believe it or not. So just as I was walking out to check out, I found these old terracotta pots, and I love the shape. What's this? And the detail on the bottom. Oh, I have no idea. I just thought it was kind of cute. Gotta make sure it's safe. When you're decorating with second-hand items, you really want to make sure that it doesn't look like somebody just threw out a bunch of stuff from a yard sale, which most of these items are from yard sales, and most of them were under $1. But what I do to give it that intentional design is I have all of my pots terracotta pots. They have different designs, different patterns, they were from different decades, but it doesn't matter, and it looks intentional because they're all the same type of style. I love these geometric plant hangers. I scored these at an estate sale a few years back for $1 a piece. My black iron modernist kind of triangle shaped ones were from the Great Junk Hunt. These would be really great for like my back patio. They're very modern. So what would that be? $30? 36 for the pair,
so
30 for the pair.
for the pair. So these are 36 for the two.
I knew it was a little bit of a risk to paint the front porch black, but everything in my gut was telling me just go for it. Just don't hold back. Do the black porch. It's gonna look classic, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. Please let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of my black porch? I have a funny story to tell you guys about this egg chair. Now, a lot of you guys may not know the entire process that Vintage goes through, but this chair is the perfect example about all the different people that you support along the way. For those of you who know my best friend Selena, the co-host with me on the Recycled Life here on YouTube, this was actually her egg chair. To make a long story short, Selena found this egg chair at an estate sale in Southern Oregon. She then sold it to one of my fellow friend vintage dealers who I bought it from. So by the time that I bought it from her, it supported the estate sale owners, the original owners, supported Selena, the vintage mall that she sold it at, my friend, and then now I have it. So that's 5 different people, and eventually I will go ahead and pass this on and sell it too. So there's a 6th person. A lot of times people don't realize when you buy something for $100 how many people you're supporting along the way. And the best part about vintage is it holds its value. So when you're ready to sell it, it's probably going to be worth at least as much as you paid for it, if not more. If you buy something new from Target in 5 years, it's going to be out of style and it's not going to be worth anything. I love that I ended up doing my plant stand black to go with the front porch. It ties in perfectly, things didn't get too cluttered, and I'm super happy with how that turned out. Last year, my husband and I built the trellises for my jasmine to grow up, and it's been so great this summer to see it finally filling in, and the flowers just happened to bloom last week just in time for this video. My olive tree was a gift from my sweet friend Michelle, and there's nothing that I love to give more as a gift or to get than plants, because as you watch them grow, every time I look at it, I just think of her. So love you, Michelle. I was a little bit nervous to paint the front steps white. I really liked that old chippy paint that was already on there because it reminded me so much of the old world look in Italy. Once I painted the fresh coat of white on there, I was really glad that I did it, and I can't believe what a difference it made. All of the furniture pieces, all of the plant stands, all of the pots have been thrifted, and that helps so much with the bottom line. We only ended up spending a few $100s on everything here. Sometimes doing it yourself really pays off. My husband actually picked up these chairs at a garage sale last summer for $10 a piece, and I was out picking with Selena, and he sent me a text and was like, "Want these?" And I was like, yes! They're perfect. They're exactly what I wanted for the front porch. My favorite terracotta pot is this giant one, and this was a $5 score off of Facebook Marketplace. It's the perfect pot for my giant olive tree, and this would have cost probably $150 if this was brand new. This project has been so much fun, and I'm so happy with how everything turned out. The only thing that I would change if I was to do it over again is I would take the time and the money to rent a paint sprayer for the deck. I spent 3 full entire days hand painting in every little nook and cranny to get this finished to look good. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me know in the comments below what you think of my front porch transformation, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
We have 2 projects left that we didn't get done in time for this episode, but we are going to refinish by sanding down this original 1911 fir door and restore it back to all of its beauty. And our antique letterbox just arrived, so we're gonna get that installed here soon. So I'll have to give you guys an update as soon as we've got those final 2 pieces done. I just came to my front porch to film the last final clips, and how funny is this? Friends of trees who helped us plant our trees in the front yard put a little note on the thing on the door, and it says super cute front porch. I did it, you guys, it's cute.